Hi, everyone. Good evening to you all. I'm going to introduce Mr. Tyler Kenagy and give him some time to introduce himself. And then he's going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting with tonight's presentation and go through what kinds of offerings we have, the philosophy behind our sports programs. At the end of the presentation, I will go ahead and take Q&A. And so if you have any that pop up during the course of our session tonight, please feel free to just put those into the Q&A box and we will get to those at the end of our session. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Tyler. And welcome, Tyler. We're so glad to have you on the team.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mrs. Keysweater. I'm super excited to be here, and hi everyone. Super grateful for this opportunity, and very excited to be a part of the John Adams community, and for the future of athletics and academics. We're super excited to get going, and can't wait for the fall. So tonight, like Mrs. Keysweater said, we will be discussing some of the things we'll be looking forward to and implementing at the school, and just kind of share some of my background and really answer some of those big questions you have, and hopefully some of this will help. And if you don't mind hitting the next slide, I kind of have my
Sure
slides
thing.
out
Whoop,
of order potentially here. If you don't mind clicking
that's
down
okay.
to, oh yeah,
Nope,
this is
darn it.
myself,
Hold on.
but
There you go.
yeah. Obviously, you can see me on the camera, but there's a picture as well. I, like Mrs. Keysweater said, currently am a physical education teacher at Golden View Classical Academy, and the athletics coordinator there. I am super passionate about working with kids and seeing them grow and flourish into young adults, and then hopefully see them grow their future in athletics as well. I grew up playing sports, primarily soccer and basketball, but as I grew as an adult, I've had a fascination with just managing sports. I've had a lot of leadership opportunities within restaurants and gym management, but nothing has been more fulfilling than working with students, and super excited to work with these new scholars and their athletic journey that they're about to have. Um, I really wanted to coach college basketball, and realized that coaching college basketball would pretty much mean I would have no life outside of recruiting, traveling, doing all of those things. And so it really recentered my focus on what family means to me. And with that being said, I have a three, almost and a half year old daughter, who will become a Patriot one day there at John Adams Academy. Hopefully, in a couple of years, she's about 3 years away from that, but I'm excited about that. And then my wife, who is our support and just everything to me. So you'll hopefully be able to meet them one day, or at an event, or a sporting event, obviously, in the future. So super excited to work with everyone, and just again grateful for this opportunity. So at John Adams Academy, athletics are an integral part of our mission to develop servant leaders who demonstrate teamwork, discipline, integrity, both on the court and field. Our athletics program is committed to building a culture of greatness, and I'll kind of touch base a lot on that aspect, as it is one of our core values, building a culture of greatness. And so, in which each scholar athlete is encouraged to grow in character, leadership, and physical fitness through participation in our athletics program. And with that being said, we want to teach kids, and I have a bias in this, but obviously with physical education, I give them a great foundation in kindergarten through second grade, learning gross motor skills, fine motor skills, locomotor skills, non-locomotor skills, how to move in space, how to know what personal space is. All of those aspects really help give them a great foundation to find success in sport. And my number one goal in teaching, and kind of goes after building that culture of greatness, is giving them a mindset that they can have fulfillment in their adult life, by having success early on, and ultimately being able to take care of their body, and have that lifelong love for fitness, sports, all of those things to keep them healthy and active. And one kind of quote I wanted to share, I actually just read this the other day, from a PE teacher, in Ohio. His name is Luke Slonkowski. He said, PE every day manifests the truth that the student's body is an essential part of their life, their education, and their daily experience. Anything less than every day sends a contrary message. So similar to what Mrs. Keesler has already spoken about, I'm super excited that PE will be an everyday aspect at John Adams Academy. It just shows how much we truly care about their growth, in that, and understanding how their body moves and works. So super excited about that, and passionate about making sure that our PE program aligns with our athletic program as well.
Tyler, I'm going to just jump in there and ask you a couple of questions. You mentioned kind of building this culture of greatness and really leaning into the core values. How do you see the PE program at JAA really espousing that and developing in our scholars the sense that they are in fact part of that culture of greatness?
Yeah, totally. So something special we have is, we're starting out as a K-8 school, and the growth into the high school. I know that that can be a questionable area since we don't have the ninth through 12th grades yet. But that is kind of the aspect I was talking about of culture of greatness, is all of the students who are starting out, especially in this first year, get to go through the process of learning what it's like to not have the idea of what is in front of them right away, and they get to work together as a team to establish a culture that is, hey, we are going to build this from the ground up, and when we become a senior in high school, and we're winning state championships and such, we can uh, look back when we were in sixth grade or fifth grade or even eighth grade as a new year, and saying, hey, we were able to work hard at this and stick it out and not just give up, when it didn't seem like we knew what was happening. And so I really think that's a great way to show students what it looks like to really be that servant leader, and just be able to fight through things when it's getting tough. And so it's going to be fun and exciting, and I'm super excited to see what that will look like when we reach that.
You've worked in a K-12 school now for several years, so can you speak to, how you interact with, say, a kindergartner to build that perseverance or that understanding of what's to come, and then how you see that unfold over the course of the grades? Because you work with all ages in a K-12 setting, so in practice, how do you actually make that happen?
Yeah, totally. I think what's really cool to see is, at the current school, a lot of the older kids, specifically in juniors and seniors, when they're walking through those halls and they see a second grader or a first grader, they make that effort to stop and say hi to them. And it's been really cool this past basketball season. The team had made it to the state semifinals, and the kids were just so fascinated by seeing them. They almost thought that they were like NBA players. They were asking them, "Are you going to make it to the NBA? Will I be able to watch you on TV?" And unfortunately, that's not some of the passions of those students, but that's what is super cool to see, that that's what it's all about. They get to see someone that is in that spot, and they can see that vision. And so, although we don't have that right away, even seeing like an eighth grader or a seventh grader is still someone that is, in their eyes, like, whoa, like they are doing this, and that looks so fun. I remember as a kid going to I feel like I was in like third grade and going to a basketball game, and one of the high school students dunked it on a fast break, and it just grew my passion. I was asking them to sign my jersey after, and all these things, and it's just so cool to see that connection that can happen within that. I've also even pulled some of them as they're walking through the halls, and I might be teaching kindergarten class and ask them, "Hey, step in here for like 5 minutes and just like teach them a game, see what they do." And it's cool to see that the older kids kind of reflect back on their days and what was fun to them. They'll play their favorite game like line tag or blob tag or something like that, right? But it's just cool to see that connection that they're so engaged with.
Yeah, it's really neat to see the interaction of kids in a K-12 school. It's unique to this particular model. I can speak to that as well. Just that my younger kids watching the older ones in the same school, in the same gym, even on the same tracks, achieving things that they themselves, my younger one looks at my older one who's a state champion runner and is like, I'm going to beat all your records. And I think that you wouldn't have that unless he had seen it and been at practice and been in the same setting. So I think that's a unique feature of being in a K-12 school too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, are you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so we want to actually just start with talking about what sports offerings we will present to our scholars, and Tyler will be talking to just about what does PE look like, what does the program that's just integral to our curriculum look like for our scholars, and then what sports offerings are we going to have in addition to those just daily PE sessions. Again, our scholars have PE every day. So that's something that Tyler mentioned, but I want to just emphasize that we want to give kids a lot of time to play. We want to give them a lot of time to move around. We know that if you're sitting in a classroom all day, learning goes down anyway. And so at our school, PE is in the afternoon for our elementary students and in the first two periods for our secondary students right now. That will change more likely for secondary as time goes on. But just want to talk first about what does the PE program look like? How are you building that out? And then if you would speak to the sports offerings that folks see here on the screen.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I think it's really unique that in this first year we'll have our middle school classes happening first. Um, it's, I think, really beneficial for them to get that activity immediately so that their brain is engaged the rest of the day. I have seen in the past where they'll come in after there's the last class of the day and they're a little drained. But then after they've exercised, they're ready for the next event. So it works in both ways, but I think it's going to be super great to see how well they'll succeed in that classroom. But kind of piggybacking off of that, uh, it, there's so much research out there that shows that when you are exercising and doing those things before maybe one of your hardest classes and things like that, that you are able to retain it more and you are more engaged. And I'm sure we've all been there where we're maybe in a meeting or something like that, and we are super tired and we just need to get woken up. And so we do some jumping jacks to re-energize our brain. And so kind of going back to our K2 um, mindset is really looking at some of our uh, kind of incorporating our Colorado standards while also putting our own flavor to it, I would say. But really, the K2 aspect is really focusing on those locomotor skills, walking, running, sliding side to side, being able to skip, hop, jump, jump off 1 foot, jump off 2 feet. And know what a level looks like. Is that a high level, a low level? How would you get through a low level? Would you crawl? How would you get over a high jump? Would you, or a barrier? Would you jump over it? Things like that. Knowing what parts of your body are in the sense of is that your bicep? Is that, and obviously it'd be like the area of your arm for a K2, but just letting them understand what their body does and how they can move that um, is super important. And with the sports offering aspect of K2, it'll look like soccer and basketball. And then the skills essentials is really a kind of an idea of focusing around students that is kind of almost an extended physical education of, hey, we want to help you in a smaller space of students to potentially help you grow with your fundamental movements. And those types of things. So I'm really excited about that, and I think it'll be a great addition. And then really third through fifth is really making sure that by the time they're in third grade, they've mastered those things, and trying to introduce some more competition. And when I say the competition is kind of more so introducing them to some of those sports like basketball, soccer, volleyball. Really excited about flag football, running, and giving them a little bit more understanding of what it looks like to compete, and just kind of going back to those core virtues in physical education. It's the best place to be able to teach them. They come out almost every day in any time we are in an activity. It's teaching them what it means to uh, be a servant leader and to uh, respect something that is maybe not something you would want to accept, right? You really have to find a way to work together and build a team, and it's a great environment for that. Uh, when looking at a lot of the kind of aspects of standards of how the PE program is being looked at is looking at their movement, their and their movement competency in that, looking at what it means to be safe in a space like that, where there could be multiple kids, and just giving them a great foundation in those really early years. And then moving into the physical education in middle school, sixth through eighth, that's really by this time they should have a great foundation of all of their locomotor skills, have a great understanding of their body, how it works, how it moves, and all of those things to where now we can incorporate more competition. And I really want to speak to that in the sense of there's a way to do competition while also having participation. This is not something that it's like where you might see in outside competitive leagues where only five people make it and the rest are out. There's a way to make sure that we are competing to be prepared for high school, while also ensuring that everyone is involved, going at the pace that they need. And some things we're looking at is trying to join some local middle school leagues in the area, to kind of see if we're able to play against the surrounding schools. And also, if that's not the case, there's a lot of intramural options to kind of scrimmage within. And I'm sorry if I'm bouncing back and forth, but uh, as you see the sports offered at the tops here, these are all going to be really based off of how many kids we have, and coaches. And I'm super excited, especially after hearing all of our new faculty and staff that's coming aboard. With all of their experience, we can surely find people involved, and I'm super excited to have parent involvement, and it's going to be a great thing. And I think that's the aspect is we're going to be able to invest together to achieve one goal. And that's what it's all about. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
that was good.
So I'm gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really great overview of kind of how the PE program builds on itself over the course of a K-8 foundation. So I want to dive into high school here in a minute and just talk
Mhm.
about what that transition looks like, because I know that families are wondering, what do our middle school feeder programs look like? How does that build into Shasta sports in the future? I'd love to have you talk a little bit about that. And before we do that, though, as parents are looking at the sports offerings that we have right now, would you talk about, just what does that actually look like? Are there seasons for these sports? What should parents expect with respect to student fees, the timeline, parent involvement, just kind of all the nitty-gritties as you have them now for the sports offerings that we have listed here.
Yeah, no, that's great. So most all of these basketballs, looking primarily with kind of like K through 5 here, um, is depending again on coaches and such, it would probably be looking a lot of like parent-led opportunity. My goal is to build out kind of like a manual of what each sport should be accomplishing and having objective so that way whoever is involved is able to do it in the way that we would like to see it grow. And that way we are all aligned on the same goal to help them learn the foundation of the sport so that by the time they hit sixth and eighth grade, they've got a great opportunity to succeed. And so the idea would be to have that manual in place with like, hey, these are practices you can do this week, or these are the things you want to really touch base on, and I will be that person to help with any questions or anything like that. And if I don't know the answer, I will also find it. Um, and then going into sixth and eighth grade. There are specifically with basketball and even volleyball, and honestly flag football too. A lot of those team sports, there are so many different leagues out there, both competitively, meaning through Just Play Sports or Gold Crown, or there's also Juggernaut Volleyball out there. And I'm still looking into some of the soccer aspects of kind of what's around, but in all of those sports, there are so many different opportunities that we can go through to ensure that there is a way for students to compete. And one thing I love is we can also do some things solely in-house with creating our own, you know, 5v5 volleyball league and mixing up teams every week and having like an in-house tournament if we're not able to follow or find something as soon as we might need to, right? But I am excited about those opportunities because I think it's really going to help create a space where kids are able to participate and ultimately be able to play the game to learn more from it. When it comes to like
That's
fees
really
and
helpful.
fees like that, I haven't thought through that solely yet, but it would definitely not be um, a point. And Mrs. Keesler, maybe you can help me out with that in the sense of if you are wanting to do it, we will find a way for you to be a part of it. The definitely K through 5, like I would say like a $50 fee. And again, that could definitely change or and such, but that's something I need to kind of think through and talk with you about as well. But
Mhm. And that
we
usually
definitely
covers
want that
things
upfront.
like, yeah, paying for your jersey, paying for the ball that you're going to be practicing with or something. But to reiterate Coach Kenagy's point here, any need is always going to be met. So we care a lot about kids being able to play sports. I can say from a parent perspective, and maybe for those of you on the call who know how trying it can be sometimes to just want your kids to play sports, but to have to go to different venues and go to different practices all over town. The fact that we have some great offerings just in-house at the school that allow kids to play sports is a huge win. And yeah, a lot of families are so grateful to just have everything in-house. It's right there. They're not driving all over creation to try to go to
Mhm.
different practices and games on the weekends and things. It's at school. Our facilities are amazing. We're very lucky to have as much space as we do. Our gym's great. Phase two gym is going to be great. We have a lot of field space. So all of these offerings are really rare for a lot of charter schools who just don't have the facilities to be able to offer these things. So more coming on that, and I think maybe we'll wrap up on that and then move into the middle school to high school. But
Mhm.
in terms of the sports offerings, would you be sending out interest letters to parents? How will they know when the sessions are available, what they can sign up for, things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Especially as we approach the summer, there'll definitely be interest forms that will go out. I think that's something that we'll need to partner on of what that might look like. Of is that a Google form or something? But you will definitely receive some type of interest form to gauge what the sport needs will be. Um, and please feel free. I know we can probably go back to that one slide with my email on there. If you are interested in
Sure.
something, please reach out to me so I know kind of already a little gauge before any type of interest form does go out. I think that will be a great way to assess where we are going to be at.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because a lot of it, I think you've already touched on it, will depend on one, the amount of interest that parents are expressing for their scholars. So just knowing, going into the school year, what folks are looking for, and then having the teachers and the coaches. Coach also mentioned that we love parent volunteers. So, if you're looking at the list and you're like, I'm really good at, coaching flag football, or I've done that before, he's definitely someone to reach out to, connect with him, because he'll get you tapped into our volunteer protocols and procedures, and give you a run through of what the programs will look like in the fall and in the spring. With that, let's go into talking a little bit about the middle school feeder programs. This is a big question for families about how are you ensuring or planning that scholars who go to our school are going to be prepared to compete in CHASA level sports. So talk about kind of what that looks like, and then what your plans are for John Adams Academy becoming CHASA compliant, and kind of that direction for high school sports.
Yeah, that's great. And that's where the whole payoff will come into place. So that's going to be super exciting. Essentially, and I've been communicating with Chess already and have some meetings set up with them, but we will be on a 3-year kind of probation period. And so during that time, when a probation period, meaning we won't be able to necessarily qualify for to make state playoffs. So if we, win X, Y, like, let's say 20 games and no losses, that will be the success of the season, and have to wait. But during that time, we're going to be competing against CHASA schools. So we won't just be doing inter squad scrimmages or anything like that. We'll be reaching out to local, and depending on where we want to go with that, just all CHASA schools to just really dive into what the competition is going to look like, which is why I think it's super important that we try to find some leagues in the 6th through 8th that's going to continue that culture of greatness, of being able to potentially compete against the same kids you're going to compete in or against when you get into ninth grade. I think that that's a great experience for kids to be able to create little rivalries amongst each other in the area. And when you lose to your rival, how do you overcome the aggression or being mad, and turn that into fuel to overcome them the next time? And so that'll be that process. I'm currently working on finding a local league to play in. So, that's some of the local leagues would be the Foothills League, the 5280 League, Mile High League. Still waiting on getting into some of those meetings to kind of see what they represent and what that will look like. But those are just some ideas that we have, so that we can. It's more of a future look of what we think we can become, and not finding leagues that we would be great at right now. Really want to be able to challenge ourselves to when we do peak, we are at playing competition that is really high, because I think that's valuable to, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. It doesn't necessarily feel good when you are beating teams that you could beat any day, right? It's not really building that character of will have to overcome people when you're applying for jobs and things like that. And you might not get the job you want, but it's helping create that atmosphere of competing for what you are really working hard at.
So if I'm a parent and I'm looking at different options for schools, I see a new school, I see that it's not CHASA compliant yet, I see that it's brand new. I look around and there are other schools, even in the classical charter world, that are. Why do I choose John Adams Academy over the others?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the way I answer that is uh, you get to be a part of something that is, in my opinion, more beneficial to the character of what you would want for your student. Me as a parent, I would want my daughter to go through a process to hopefully at the end get the reward. I would not want her to be going through a process where she just gets to push a button and get that reward right away. And I also think that by sticking it out through and playing with some of the same kids year after year, they will have a a more fulfilled environment of uh, I call it like a brotherhood, but of like you are with your team and you will be able to say and look back on that one day and say, man, we went through this. And even as a parent, you will get to see that reward as well of just thinking about for your kid being like, wow, they were able to stick that out. It was hard, it was difficult, but even myself as a parent, you would be able to say, hey, um, seeing how proud they were of themselves would I would hope fulfill you as well. And that's kind of how I would look at that and treat it. So
hmm I mean, I can speak to that just on the parent side of things, having kids go through a program that was nascent, and there was a lot of building and a lot of time, a lot of years, and the coaches really poured in, and I saw that exact thing happen, especially with my now college age son, that starting out in a running program that was just bare bones and they're just running around, and in 8 years' time, they're winning state championships. And it's the same kids that started at the beginning of that. And, people came and went, but there was this core group of athletes that they saw the goal line, and it really was almost, you mentioned that brotherhood there, whatever, that sense of community that just kept them tied to the school too. For a lot of these athletes, it's the sports that really unite them and help them through their high school years sometimes. So I saw that on the personal side of things. So I really appreciate that perspective, and I
mhm.
mean, you've seen it coming from a similar K-12 setting. What should parents expect with respect to just offerings in the fall moving forward? How can they contribute? What advice can you give for our families who are thinking about joining or who already have joined, about what to prepare for the fall?
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, my hope would be to have all of these in the fall and uh, with um, the high energy that it will be with opening a new school and how exciting that will be. And I would also say if you see something that you're like, hey, this could really improve this way, I'm super open to that feedback. Whether I will take it or not, I want that so that we can understand how it's developing, especially with it being so new. This is not mine. This is not anyone's. It's like we have this gift to be able to create it, and I see that as a whole group and a team to do that. So please be as involved as you would like to be. I would ask when we are having refs and those things, or at a match or something like that, that you are the most positive person. And I would always say, specifically speaking to the parents, when I used to ref middle school basketball, when parents would be yelling from the sidelines and all those things, I would look at them and I would say, you have three options. You can be a player, a coach, or a parent. Um, or I'd also say a ref, I'd throw in one of those. But I was hoping that they would say, when I would ask them, what do you choose right now to be a parent? And in my opinion, as a parent, you want the best for your kid. And when that person pushes them and they run into the side of the wall, you just fight for them by being positive and just encouraging them and uplifting them. And I think that that's like the ultimate goal is when we're building this culture of greatness, that is what it means, in my opinion, too, as a parent and a faculty and a staff, that like we are just pouring our energy into these students so they have the experience and we're not reliving our experience and giving them what we maybe did not have, right? And that's the ultimate goal, and hopefully fulfill their character and be super involved with that. So,
Yeah, that's good advice. That's plenty of stories in the news about middle school sports seem to just really rile everyone up for some reason. So, really good to bring that up. Well, I'm going to go back to Tyler, your page with your contact info. So, for parents who are on our webinar who have particular questions about the PE program, as he mentioned, we are working through kind of developing what the fee structure looks like. As we get closer to fall, look for emails that ask for interest about which sports you'd be interested in doing for your kids, and if you're interested in helping to coach those or support in those, the more the merrier. And abundance mentality happens when we have people pouring into the things that they're good at doing for the good of the community. So. Thank you so much for that. And before we stop share and go into Q&A, Tyler, is there anything else you want to say?
no, I think I guess there is one last thing, I'd just bring
Sure.
up the one of my favorite quotes, and I feel like it just kind of builds off of why you would want to stay. It comes from John Wooden. He's one of the, in my opinion, the
Mhm.
greatest basketball coach and leader in all aspects. But my favorite quote from him is hard work beats talent when talent isn't working hard, right? And so going back to why would I choose to go to this charter school who is making state championships every year and all of these things? Well, yes, they have a ton of talent and all of those aspects, but for me, I would rather have someone working hard to get the outcome than to just take talent and be be good. I feel like the reap of the reward is better when you can know that you worked hard at something to get that. So,
Yeah, well, that pairs really well with what we do in the classroom too. I think that the same principle applies there as well. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember reading his book. He was a great coach. Good heavens.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll go ahead and stop share, and we'll touch base on any of the Q&A. If we let me see where the Q&A lives. I don't see any at the moment, so I guess you answered everyone's questions.
Yeah.
We'll stay on for a couple minutes in case you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we'll just kind of go back and forth. So I'm so glad to have Tyler Kenagy on our team. It's a really tough decision choosing an athletics director because you're not just looking for someone who can help build out the high school sports programs, but also someone who really instills a love of sports in our younger scholars. And that position and that responsibility is a weighty one. And that I've seen time and time again so many kids who maybe the classroom isn't their happiest place in the world, but man, PE is, and it fills them in a way that other things just can't. So Tyler was a really great addition to our team, and I'm excited for what he has to bring to our school community. So, yeah, excited for the future and all
Thank
the
you.
great things we have in store. Yeah, we're lucky to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a question here. Are we able to ask for other sports to be added in the future, like cheer or golf?
Yeah, those are always welcome. And we actually even spoke about that a couple weeks ago of what cheer could look like in a classical setting. And I believe we can make that happen. It's just a matter of what that will look like in the future. So I think it can be done really well, and definitely open to that. And with golf, I'm sorry I didn't put it on there. that's a, in my opinion, an easy one to do because we don't have to build a golf course on our campus. Thank you for catching that. And that is that's an easy one in my opinion.
Mhm. And in cases like golf, again, it comes down to, do we have the interest for it? Do we have either
Mhm.
the teacher, coaches, or parent volunteers who go through the background training and all of that to be able to lead those sports? So I've seen a lot of schools that will utilize parents as even coaches to help do some of those sports that you just tap into the local community and find the place to practice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Another one. Will there be tryouts to the teams, or kids will just come and sign up because they want to try, but they never did the sport before? So are there going to be tryout teams, or can kids who want to try a sport just try a sport?
Yeah, definitely. We we will potentially do kind of some tryout aspects if we have a group of kids who, are um, playing competitively outside of the sport. For individual sports such as cross country or golf, I know there are some team scoring in that aspect, but the idea is that, especially in the sixth through eighth, is we're not going to just turn someone away based off of their skill, whether they come in the first year or not, while also so building up those that need to be built up more and create a better foundation, and not holding back those that are already at that and keeping them more engaged too. So providing opportunities for both. So yes, there could be a tryout for this team if you are solely interested, and that'll be well communicated of like, hey, this is a tryout opportunity and this is a very competitive league. If you feel like your scholar athlete is not ready for that, choose this aspect of more foundation participation to get them to that. We want that for them, and I think that's even a better opportunity for them to be able to play and find the love of the game. Sometimes that can be a little challenging if their best friend is uh, trying for the competitive, but they're not there yet. And I think that's super important for their character development and all the things for them to be able to uh, try to hone in on that and really work hard to get to where they want to be if that's what they want to do.
And remembering too that a lot of those sports modules will be in their actual PE classes too. So since
Mhm.
they have PE every day, a lot of the sports will be even in the context of PE, so they can at least experience
Yeah.
the different kinds that are offered at a more competitive level too. Will
Yeah.
teachers be allowed to volunteer for some of the sports? So yeah, I'll answer that one if you don't mind.
Yeah, totally. Go for it.
Yes. In fact, for our program to be able to offer as many sports offerings as we can, we need teachers. So, if you're looking at the list and you're like, I really love coaching basketball or football or flag football, reach out to Coach Kenagy and start having those conversations, because the sports depend upon um, all the all the manpower that we can muster to make them happen. So, most definitely. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a really good question.
And if also I could also add to that, I truly think I didn't really touch on this, and I want everyone to also know that it takes that cohesion. It can't be athletics on this side and academics on this side. Having teachers and even faculty and staff involved in that will create a whole school culture of are uh, we want this for we can do both, and we can make sure that we are engaged in every aspect, and you don't have to enjoy sports or anything like that, and that's totally fine, and there's some books that I don't read at times too, and so but I think there is that team aspect where we can all work together. And one of my favorite things is going into teachers' classrooms to uh, see what the kids are learning and learn myself. I did not grow up with I guess the best education I would say, and I wish I had a classical school. I grew up in Grand Junction. I didn't really mention that. So at the time there was no classical schools around, and so I love being able to enter the room and just see what they're learning because most of the time I'm learning something brand new. And that's another aspect of our core virtues that I love is being able to be in it with them and learn together. So yeah,
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Um, that is all we have for right now. So we're happy to hang out for a couple more minutes. But Tyler, I really want to, I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your day. I know you work hard all day and have the range of kindergarten through eighth grade students to address all the time. So we really appreciate you. If you have any
appreciate it.
questions that come up that you think about after the fact, please feel free to reach out. Tyler's email is readily available. This webinar will also be posted on our school's website and on our socials. So if you know that there were other folks who wanted to see it but couldn't join in, let them know. We'll have that posted. And really excited about the upcoming school year. We have a legacy that we have to build, and I'm honored to be a part of that and to help serve our community. And I think Tyler is just such a great fit for that and has the spirit of service. I worked with him for several years and just was, just always humbled by his ability to be open and learn and grow new things. And so it's gonna be a great year.
Definitely is. Super excited.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, we're going to wrap up with that then. And as always, reach out if you have any questions. And we'll be posting future webinars. Our next one is going to be the second round of teacher hires. So we're fully staffed, which is really exciting. So we'll have another one coming up where you can meet some of the other teachers and teacher aides that are going to be on board for our school. And stay posted for all of our upcoming events in April as well. So we hope to see you all at some future event, and thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us. All righty. Well, with that, have a great evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. All right.